All right, beautiful people, here we go. Welcome to Course Circle Live. Super excited. This is our first one. To make it super clear so that everybody knows this is an experiment in co-creation and Ho'oponopono, look it up. Together we can build anything and more. It's 100% in Spanglish. We're going to try out some different interesting things today, but here's the flow of today. Our flight time is going to be about 60 to 90 minutes, which realistically is going to be like, maybe 100, but we know, who knows? I'm going to be using this guy to time us. So I'm going to do the welcome, which I'm kind of starting right now, but then we're going to do the drop-in, all of us, the full circle. Invocation by Marcel Alejandro Russo, the CEO and co-founder of Friends Agency. Our featured guest today is MAURO Medina SUSARREY. Questions from everyone, anybody in the audience or here. The people on the stage are my core graduates, core circle members, or they've been invited because they're obnoxious. Then the next steps, which is we're all going to talk about what to do next. And this is all part of a long continuum. But with that, let me do the introduction. The introduction is, here's what I've learned on my journey so far. Aquí está lo que he aprendido en mi camino hasta ahora. God is a designer. Let me see if it's actually still on Marce, still on you. Let me see if, well, that's good. Let's keep it on Marce. We are the system. The future is here. Unmute yourself. These are all things that are actually real. This is an experiment in co-creation. Together we can build anything. Here's a quote. If you want to figure out what Burning Man is really about, you have to show up early, bring all your tools, get organized, and volunteer to build. This was a UX designer at the UX Forum something, AI, American Institute of, whatever the title is, at Art Center College of Design in 2013. That was my white rabbit. And the last quote is, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes existing models obsolete. And with that, I would like to pass it on to my brother, Marce Russo, to do our invocation.
All right, beautiful people. I think that I want to start with like the vision and that at least brought me here, to this circle, to my core, to Jose, to all of you. I've been running my agency for about 5 years now. Went through all of these crazy different phases, and I recognized that about a year and a half ago, there was a leakage. Something was draining the will. Yes, I think it's going to be the willpower of myself. And the things that we did were just becoming emotion. They were just becoming just a repeated process that, albeit very effective, was not fulfilling. And I came across Jose's my core when clearly I needed it the most. It led me through a process of self-discovery where in the end of by the end of it, I realized two things. The first one, and I think that was the most important for me, is that I felt comfortable sharing the vision that I'm going to tell you guys right now in a few minutes. But I think more important than that was the fact that I was able to put that into the universe, into the people around me. And some people will call it serendipitously. Today, I may call it inevitable, that the co-creators that we discovered started to literally pop up all over the place. And there was an energizing freedom of seeing the universe respond to what I've discovered, because now it's time to tell you guys that my vision, my goal beyond the company, beyond who I am, is to empower Latin America. Uh, I've been I've been waiting to find a way to create this bridge of opportunity, this bridge of uh, talent that we have because we lived in Latin America, because we grew up where we grew up, because we experienced the not only the greatness of each and every one of our countries, but also all of the hardships that come with it. And I realized that by bringing my entire self, um, I would be able to make sure that the people connect to this mission, connect to this vision. And I don't have a cool background, guys. I apologize. I don't know where I left it, but I'm for from doing my Fido, I'm an evil dorky. I'm a guy that I would say even thrives on structure and enjoys the predictability and discovering how the universe actually is pushing me to not make the other two sides of the flaky obnoxious disappear in me. That beautiful figure that is currently on screen right now, instead of, I don't know how to say it other than it just got bigger in all of the angles. And when thinking about being more authentic with myself, uh, I realize that as I surrender to my faith, as I surrender to who I always was, and Jose, you said something in one of our meetings. I accept that I don't need to be talking all the time, but I can be this vessel, this container of other people's greatness. I began to accept myself a lot more. And in this process of discovery, the one of my key problems, or the key problems that I had with my agency that ended up bringing me to Jose, was generating leads, or finding the clients that would resonate with the work that I wanted to do, and that allowed me to represent the name of my agency, Friends, deeply, by not being the only one that cared about their success, by not being the only one that made sure that I was intentionally listening. I found that once you, I'm going to backtrack on this idea. I think that everyone has ever always done an exercise of self-reflection, of discovering or trying to say, this is who I am, and these are the people that I want to have around me. The my core exercise that we did with Jose, it was so different. Maybe dig deeper, maybe the flaky, obnoxious portion of Jose crashed so beautifully against my incisive need of structure that it didn't break it, it opened it up. And from that opening up, my real co-creators showed up. The visionary, the movement leader. Those were the people that really, really ended up showing up. And literally, guys, by the way, absolutely literally, not 3-4 weeks after we finished my core, a lead came up into my inbox with a couple that represented the visionary crazy and the movement leader. They were just like turn around in their genders from the pictures. And what became even more crazy about that situation was that I was able to show up as me, fully me, with my jokes, my Argentinian confidence, and the way to hopefully make everybody feel at ease of sharing who they are. And I think that as I reflect a bit on that, my client was a family. There were a husband, a wife, and a child. So, and their children. Well, he's an adult. I don't know. Son. Let's call it son. So by seeing them be authentic, I realized that I hope maybe me being authentic to myself and showing up there became the enabler for them to talk to their son, engage with him, and the son being transparent with the father and the parents, and seeing a beautiful relationship probably grow way beyond what they were expecting. And by having masterful people work alongside with me and Jose and Felice, I got to hear my client repeat, I love this so much that I'm going to miss it. So that was one. We need that they use the word need, which was shocking. We need to find more excuses to keep doing this. And the one that shocked me the most, because it connects to my evil dorky, it was one of the clients said, in the past, I had never engaged with this kind of processes. Someone would come and do this with me, and I would zone out. And it was like, yes, you do you. I cannot wait to do this again. So I think that if I would try to maybe wrap up this, was, I don't know if it's and I'm going to connect it with this, Jose, thank you for putting it on screen. It's that I think that I am ready to be naked in public, figuratively, just in case, guys, don't worry. But I'm ready to be in front of cameras, in front of people, just sharing who I am. I will let everyone else then decide how they show up, what do they hear. And I gotta say also, thank you, Jose, for pushing me to do this, for pushing me to the uncomfortable places in a safe way. And I can keep on going talking. So I'm just gonna make a pause here and say, when was the time that I've been completely naked in public? Now, people. Now is my time.
Nice to see you naked. Do you want to do the drop in from the top in Spanish and then pass it on to someone?
Por supuesto. My name is Marcelo Alejandro Russo. Soy Evil Dorky. I am currently in Miami, originally from Argentina, Buenos Aires. What do I do? I don't know. I do crazy things every day now, but I'm the CEO and co-founder of Friends Agency, a creative technology agency that right now is hoping to build this bridge between the two biggest cultures that I know, the US and my home, Latin America. I'm going to pass it on to another evil dorky that I see here, TJ.
Hi. Yeah, right now is the time I've been completely naked in public, but yeah, any single time I have to like do a large
From the
presentation.
top.
Sorry.
Sorry, TJ.
Yeah,
From the
sorry
top.
about that.
Your
So my
name,
name is TJ
Vito.
Maxwell. I'm Evil Obnoxious. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I do brand design, web design, and community design and development. Mostly all things community. The time I've been completely naked in public is anytime I have to do a pitch to a group. Um, and yeah, basically anytime I have to do a pitch to a group, public speaking, I've done it so many times where it's like I don't prepare. I just go ad hoc, just go for it. Because I find that if I prepare, then I psych myself out even more, and I get nervous even more if I prepare. So if I just do it, if I just wing it, I tend to land it much better. But still, it's that voice in your head. It's like, oh, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up your words, all that stuff. So yeah, I feel like that's a time where I've been naked in public. And yes, I did go to a nude beach a couple years ago. So I can check both those off on the bucket list. So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it off to Linda.
And thanks, TJ. I'm Linda Dooley. I am dorky, obnoxious / evil. Both the obnoxious and evil are equal. I'm in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and I am a brand coach, identity designer. When I've been metaphorically naked in public, is having to start my business after my husband passed away, 2011. I had 2 kids. I wanted to be there. I didn't want them to experience being completely abandoned, I guess, because if I went to work for a corporate agency, that they pretty much own you, and I wouldn't be able to go to the school events and support my kids where they needed it after having lost their dad. And having to explain my story in building my business to other women who they've always been who I wanted to serve. When I started my business, I joined a networking group, and they told me, yes, you do this, you do that. You establish a target audience. They didn't tell me how to establish a target audience. And that's the reason that I decided I was going to build the coaching and the branding business for widowed mothers and women that are in transition. And voicing my vulnerability is what I consider being naked in public. I want to be able to help women that are starting their own businesses or transitioning to a new type of business, so that they don't have to go through the trial and error that I had to go through when I was in a very vulnerable position. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and I will choose Felice.
Thank you, Linda. My name is Felice de la Gatta. I am dorky and equal parts evil, obnoxious. I'm currently in Moldova, and I am a brand identity designer. When's the last time I've been naked in public? Actually, I am naked for between 1 and 3 hours every Saturday in front of Jose Abram Cavaller Perez. For the last 3 weeks, I've been naked in front of him for a few hours every Saturday, figuratively, of course, because I'm going through the my core. But let's get naked now, and I'll tell you a story that I think is very funny, but I wouldn't tell anyone. But just between us, right? When I was a teenager, all my group of friends was into Jackass, of course. But I had my best friend was really the catalyst for, oh, this is the perfect time to emulate the stupidest thing we have seen in the latest episode of Jackass. So naturally, one day it happened that the idea was to run through the city completely naked, to our hometown completely naked. And that's what we actually did. And I remember the funniest thing was that there was a friend of ours who didn't think it was a good idea to do that. So his job was actually to run behind us, holding all our clothes, so that he could give them back to us once we were arrived at our destination. Um, that's my story of being literally naked in public instead. And with that, I'm complete, and I'm gonna call on to Kevin.
Awesome. Thanks, Felice. My name's Kevin Mooney. I am a brand architect. I work with leaders who have hit an inflection point in their business. I'm located in Bend, Oregon, very far away from the rest of you fine folks. And a time that I've been naked, right now, I'm actually naked from the bottom down. You guys just can't see. And that's the beauty of Zoom. No, I'm kidding. I am naked right now. I have never talked about my thoughts, my feelings, my perspectives on business or creative or brand anywhere outside of the comfort of my own home or business partnerships. So telling the world what I think about the things that are going on or have gone on or where we're going is completely new to me. And I wouldn't say I'm nervous, and I wouldn't say that I haven't done it in the past because I was scared. I didn't do it because I didn't want to. I wanted to be heads down. I wanted to do the best work that I possibly could. And then I wanted to show that to the world. It just turns out that that doesn't actually get you very far. So when I joined the community, it became apparent very quickly. It's time to start saying some of this shit out loud. And whether people laugh at me or they love me, it doesn't matter. It's something that I have to do for me personally. So I guess I'm just completely naked right now. And that is the end of me. I think, Jose, you're the last one, right? Nope.
Felice, TJ, no. Federico. And Mauro.
Federico. Sorry. I'm sorry about that.
There's 3 people left. No worries.
Where are they? I don't see them. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Federico, you go.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm Federico Obnoxious Flaky, based in Italy. And I'm Curious Human and also the founder for almost 21 years old of Smarty, a small digital agency and brand strategist. And when I was really naked in public is recently when I start writing on Substack because was not for please someone else, but was really rooted to me to be present, to be connected with my inner kids. And is a really precious time that unfortunately I didn't have too much right now, but I hope to have the possibility to back write soon, because for me is really it's like gifting myself and maybe someone else that was me in the past. And so I'm not afraid to be really transparent and honest first with myself, and so I'm totally naked over there. And yeah, I'm complete, and I pick Mauro.
All right. Thank you, Federico. Okay, so my name is Mauro Medina. I'm an I'm a dorky obnoxious. I am located in Ensenada, Baja California, in Mexico. And I am a brand designer, a creative director here. I have a small studio with my wife. We combine branding and interior design. And I've been thinking about this question about being naked in public. And I think there's a lot of ways to interpret, I think, that question. And one thing that keeps coming back to mind is probably the most embarrassing experience I've had in my life, in my career, was actually during an interview that I had way in the beginning of my career. And it was for All Stars. And I was coming in to do, brochures and editorial design and stuff, and just general sort of collection work. And I remembered I fumbled that interview so bad and so hard that I remember the look of the creative director just looking at me like, this poor guy, man, he has no idea where he's standing. And it was one of those times where you feel completely naked, like you have nowhere to escape, nowhere to go, and just mumbling every word. And but that experience, that horrible experience, translated into something really powerful, which is, it's okay. Like, it's okay to be naked in public and to feel comfortable with failure. And I think those kind of experiences make you unbelievably resilient. And I think over the past 17 years that I've been in this industry, it's been plagued with a lot of success, a lot of failures, but every failure has made my skin thicker. It's made my thoughts sharper. It's made me want to learn and figure things out and continue to grow. And I think it's an important part of the process, right? To feel this idea of like being naked in public or being in a situation where like, oh my God. But essentially it makes you a better, I think, a better professional, a better person to go through these experiences. And I think it's a good thing to every once in a while feel that. And yeah, I'm complete. I think next is Federico, Kevin. I think everybody went, right?
I'll do a short one then if anybody else. Linda, you went.
Okay, sorry.
No, I think Linda, did you go?
I have gone.
Great. So if no one else, I'll be last, I'll be brief so that we can get to our special guest. I am Jose Abraham Caballer. I am obnoxious, flaky. I really help people unmute themselves. That's my job. I'm just here to like throw you on stage and good luck, assholes. No, that's not true. I stick around. I'm in Panama City, Panama, and I'm going to share a literal one. One of the first workshops I went to a workshop on non-sexual nudity. I was curious. And one of the exercises that we had to do, yes, everyone had to be naked. There was about 40 people sitting around, in a circle and some on chairs. Those were very brave people. And one of the exercises was, there were many, one was pairing yourselves with somebody else and talking about your body and your issues and concerns. But one exercise was, out of the 40, 50 people in the workshop, they stood us up in a line about 2-3 feet away from each other by number. You just got in a line, and then you had to look directly at the person in front of you in their eyes and scan their body, without saying anything. And I think it was for an uncomfortable amount of time. More than one person cried. So many people kind of like, just like that fear, that deadly fear. You know how they say when you're on stage, one of the exercises is to think of everyone in the audience as naked, and that makes you feel better. In this case, you're naked and the audience is naked, and that gets really like, painful. There's a lot of different exercises. One of the last ones was playing charades together with teams. The workshop was like almost all afternoon. And the graduation, once we were done, by the way, by the time the graduation came, nobody realized they were naked. So everybody was super comfortable. And then the teacher goes, and the workshop leader goes, All right, for your graduation, you're all gonna run out into the street yelling, "I'm naked!" with your hands up. And 50 people pour out of the tent onto the street, which is crowded, with people passing by on bicycles, no cars. And everybody outside was like, "Yay, good for you." It was kind of, and they kept on going. And that was the graduation. And then we went back in the tent and laughed and said, "Oh, wow, that wasn't that hard." So with that, I am going to welcome my friend and do a brief intro. The reason why I invited Mauro, and I'll keep it super brief, I met Mauro through Keone Chung. He worked at Keone's agency, and it was at one of the trainings. And there's a picture on Instagram of that training. The thing that I really would like to say about this is that Mauro, you have showed up. I've seen you grow just immensely. Like I remember that I referred a client to the agency, and the client called me. I was in New York City, and she was very upset. This was a very challenging client. And I looked at the design, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I worked with you, Mauro, and with Keone to kind of like, make the client happy and redo, or not even to redo, to touch up some of the designs and land it.
Yeah.
Right? So that to me, as an experience, and then later when I was design director, or really my title was culture chef or something like that. I don't even remember what it was. At Consensus, and we were hiring design people. I said, you know what? The thing that I knew that you would find useful was becoming confident in the fact that you were actually very skilled, because you would then have to work in a crazy ass ecosystem. And I know I've apologized about it, but I'll stop apologizing. I'll stop apologizing for putting people in uncomfortable situations, or for throwing people into the deep end, or for telling people things that are uncomfortable, because that's a gift that I've been given here in Panama City, and because that's what really makes it our careers ultimately. Those things, even though they might cause breakdowns sometimes, that there are things that are needed to hear. I'm the most sensitive person ever, so it's like I'm throwing stones and I live in a glass house. But with that, I'm going to let you go, present, and I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you, Jose. Okay. Quick question before that. Can I do it in Spanish, English?
Do it. Let's go with English. I think it was crazy. Just do it in English. We can go back and forth in Spanish and English if you want, but I think to be fair to everybody, to enjoy it.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Jose. I think I'm not too sure where to get started. I mean, it has been a kind of long road, and it's been a lot of learning since I got off of school, when I started the agency through Keone.
Start with the end. Start with the end. Start with a project, and then while you're showing us the project, share the story.
Alrighty. Okay. So, anyways, I'm really happy to be here. I'm gonna share my screen now.
You should be able to. Yeah. Go ahead. Try.
Okay. There we go.
There you go.
Okay. Can everybody see? So first of all, my studio is Cult Studio. This is a studio that I have with my wife. She's an architect and interior designer, and I do branding and strategy for our clients. So we're based here in Ensenada. I want to just quickly kind of run through some of the projects that we've done, and then I can give you guys a little bit more context and a little bit more history of where I come from. So one of the projects that we just finished recently was this coffee shop called Rufián. So Rufián is they came to us. They wanted to do a coffee shop that was somewhat different from what everybody is currently creating in Ensenada. And Ensenada is currently in this sort of boom of like coffee shops, and it's like coffee shops in every corner. Everything from, like sort of like diner eateries to stuff that's like really, really niche. And for Rufián, so what we did was we created this brand that we wanted to make it feel like it was something very very expressive, very dynamic, something that was like ever changing. One of the things that that came to mind was to use a lot of color, and this idea of like colors sort of morphing into each other, sort of mimicking how coffee or like the latte sort of mixed together with the milk. So we wanted to kind of bring that organic feel to the entire brand and really make it lively, something that is not generally done in coffee shops. Generally, coffee shops are a little bit boring, but very polished, very nice, very modern. And this was something that was quite different. So utilizing a lot of different gradients, really kind of twisting and twirling the logo and the typography to also make it kind of resemble that the sort of coffee. This was some of the ideas that we put together for the packaging, for signage. Once we finished the brand and we did the entire strategy, then my wife took this and sort of did her interpretation of the brand into the interior design and the exterior. And this was the actual renders that we created beforehand. Once we finished it, and she did an amazing job of like translating what was in my head and in the brand into something that was like physical. So that was really incredible. That process was really nice. The coffee shop just opened a couple of months ago, and so far it's been a real success. Like it's been jam-packed every single day. This is what it looks like right now. This was the finished product. Here's a good photo. So this was before the opening. And then this is some of the other areas of the coffee shop. And this is their feed in the Instagram. So I've been really happy with this. They really kind of took this brand and really run with it and really understood it. And they've been kind of really playing a lot with all the elements that we put together. A lot of these, like a lot of the beverages, they have different colors. They have different designs, so they're trying to be really creative and really sort of out there with this. And it's been really like a really refreshing type of coffee shop and concept that wasn't done here in Ensenada. Next project, it's a project is called Navi. So Navi, I have some history with these clients. I've done another brand in the past. Now this one was a little bit challenging because this has the owner, Patty. She wanted to rebrand because they were going into a whole new direction for this elementary school, and they wanted to really focus in on a lot of this sort of innovation and really teaching kids to be self-reliant and having a lot of different tools to really be able to have like the successful structure moving ahead in life. But it was difficult to kind of get them to the right direction. One of the things is that they were really married to what they had, and they were really scared of making a big leap or a big change. This has some history behind the name also. So Navi is Ivan backwards, which Ivan was the son of Fatih and Samuel. They created the school. They create another company in the memory of their son. So it carried a lot of emotional weight. So one of the things that we did for this specific brand was to really try to kind of break apart all the different elements, all the different areas of where the school really focused in, and try to make it look a little bit more institutional, and also bring in this big sort of splashes of color and their colors from their original logo to create the final execution, which actually ended up being something that was really interesting. Creating this little shield out of the colors and out of all these different shapes that each has as a representation. We created through the strategy. We've also gave it a lot more meaning into the name. So it wasn't just like Ivan backwards, but it was now it has a specific meaning. So every letter has a meaning behind it and a reason and a color, which is something that we throw into all these different areas of the school now. This was some of the concepts for the uniforms. This is some of the designs that came out of it right after we finished the brand. The designer that they have right now, like they really understood what we created and they were really able to translate visually exactly what we wanted to do through the photography, through the designs, a lot of the imagery. So it ended up being a really fantastic brand. They and I don't know if I'm proud or not of this, but when we presented the brand, the owner Patty, she cried because some of the letters, for example, the A resembled the way that her son used to write cursive. And the moment that I showed her that logo, it was just tears started coming down. And it was something really powerful because I think when you create that emotional tie-in with your client and really you can affect them emotionally in that way, I think that's when you really have that success of like, okay, I understood the client, I understood where we were going and the emotional intention behind the brand. And I think that's what makes it really successful. And they really sort of married to it. Anyway, it was a fantastic little experience. So they've been doing a lot of different content. I can show you, I have a couple of videos here that they've been creating. So this is again through the photographer who I worked with in the past. Here we go.
Todo empieza con una decisión. El Navi Global School hemos dedicado
Sorry, I didn't know I had sound.
visión, valores y propósito. Porque cada historia empieza con una decisión y esta puede ser la suya. Navi Global School. We are makers. Todo empieza con una decisión. El Navi Global School hemos dedicado.
Yeah, so those are the two main projects that I wanted to show. This has been a really interesting sort of collaboration. Also with Jose. Jose helped me out a lot in this specific logo. I remember when I came, I was really convinced that it was another direction, and Jose was able to kind of narrow down some of the directions. So I think this is where a lot of the value also in this community, right, where when somebody needs help and somebody needs that sort of advice, it's always available. And it's always, the product that comes out of these collaborations have always been really fruitful. I'm not too sure.
That's a secret that most people don't know, is that if you actually reach out to me, I'll actually get on Zoom with you and help you out. I mean,
Yes.
to you specifically, obviously, or to any member of the community that's part of my core or part of the circle. So I'll start off the questions, really, if that's okay, because I know you have to go soon, but because you're busy today. But I'll start with my first question in Spanish and then I'll translate it. ¿Qué papel tú piensas que tomó no solamente el proceso de core, que lo hiciste con el cliente muy íntimamente, pero conocer la historia del cliente? In Spanish, walk me through un poco de cómo tú piensas que esa habilidad de mezclar los lenguajes, la historia del hijo, también el papel que la educación tiene en Latinoamérica, porque el sello, algo de lo cual hablamos, es que mira, un sello así oficial es algo que es un lexicon, es la palabra en inglés, of education en Latinoamérica. Y yo estando aquí en Panamá me di cuenta de eso y dije, hey, vamos para allá. Esa es la pregunta. What role do you think core and the process took for you to understand and mix all of the different influences, the role of education and the lexicon of education in Latin America, your knowledge of the client? I'm curious how core happens in Latin America with especially with a master like you, because one day I hope to show and to have like a basically the Mauro Medina SUSARREY version of core for Latin America in Spanish. But esa es la pregunta, and then everybody else can ask after that, and I will mute myself.
Ok.
En español.
Ok. Entonces, es una muy buena pregunta. Y yo creo que esto yo lo puedo lo puedo ver desde mucho antes, todavía años cuando recién llegué a México, en Ensenada. Am, en la cultura aquí de diseño siempre ha sido muy representativo. De exactamente diseña lo que te piden. O, si es un logo para un sándwich, es un sándwich. Si es un logo para un café, es un café. Entonces, siempre ha sido muy literal, y muy al punto. Algo que Core, me ha ayudado mucho desde años atrás y hasta ya desde como lo aplico y lo he aplicado, es buscar, la abstracción, buscar lo que es diferente y entender la historia del cliente, entender cuáles son las emociones que ellos están manejando y cómo quieren usar eso para poder llegar a sus clientes, ¿no? Entonces, realmente ha sido mucho de enseñar a los clientes que tu marca no es el logo, sino tu marca es todo lo que engloba el logo, ¿no? Es el logo y luego es todo lo que está alrededor. Y entonces, Core me ha ayudado bastante en poder sacar esas narrativas, poder extraer esas historias para tomar eso y traducirlo en algo visual. Entonces, Navi fue muy interesante porque yo ya tenía un poquito de experiencia con Corvus, con una marca de lentes. Sabía la historia de la familia, sabía la historia de ellos. Entonces, por eso, también ha sido, muy interesante porque puedo jalar de muchos lugares emocionales, de muchos lugares, de la historia. Y creo que esa es la parte artística del diseño. Cuando puedes, inspirarte de ciertas cosas, no nomás de imágenes, en Pinterest o Google, lo que sea, sino que te inspiras de las historias que te están diciendo, contando los clientes, para poder realmente hacer algo nuevo, algo interesante. Algo que también yo, he visto mucho en Ensenada y lo ves en pueblos, lo ves en ciudades pequeñas. Cuando yo he hecho proyectos de esta escala, y eso fue uno de los proyectos yo creo más grandes, y lo noté también lo noté con otro café que era de Shkanda, o con Corvus, con Navi. Lo he visto con varios clientes aquí. Es que cuando creas algo que es totalmente nuevo y no se ve como lo que existe, empiezan a salir marcas muy similares. Después de que lancé Navi, empezaron a salir nuevos logos de escuelas muy similares, con dirección muy similar. Y eso, a mí me causa, me causa mucho orgullo, me pone muy feliz porque veo como que, ok, se están dando cuenta que hay una forma diferente de hacer las cosas, de que no tienen que hacer tan literal, de que no tienen que irse por una dirección, que hay más, por explorar. Ya ellos están usando Core, quizás ellos ustedes solos, o ellos están explorando diferentes formas de hacerlo. Es algo muy bueno. Yo creo que algo también de lo que, para salirme un poquito de la parte de Core, algo que a mí me ha ayudado mucho es el hecho de que vengo de Estados Unidos. Yo nací aquí en Ensenada, estuve viviendo en Los Ángeles 17 años y luego ya regresé. Pero también he tenido la fortuna y la oportunidad de poder viajar por todo el mundo. Como diseñador, eso es invaluable. Y cuando tienes esas experiencias, esas historias y esas referencias, cuando combinas eso con lo que es core, tienes un banco enorme de referencias, un banco enorme de lugares donde puedes extraer estas ideas y puedes elaborar nuevas direcciones y nuevos métodos. Y yo creo que eso sería realmente mi mayor aportación a Core y a cómo yo lo he utilizado en todo mi trabajo.
Beautiful. More now questions from the circle. I am complete on my question. Thank you. Y gracias por contestarla en español.
Hopefully most of you guys understood it.
He
And
said
I
core is
can repeat it in
amazing,
English.
and it's changed his life, and it's changing Mexico.
Yeah, maybe I started a bit reaching, but yeah, essentially what it is, it's I live in a small town, small city, and something that happens here is that design is still very much working a little bit in the past, and they're just barely starting to kind of move forward in some areas. But ever since I came in, I started doing strategy and started going through this sort of methodology. It's been changing a little bit how my clients have perceived their own brands. So having, my experience coming from the States and having the opportunity to have traveled has been really invaluable to combine that experiences and those stories to be able to bring them into core for me to be able to do the translation into something visual and kind of bring something new. Something that I've done with specifically with Navi is that I know their family history. I know a lot of the references. So for that specific branding was really interesting because I was able to pull from those emotional stories and those emotions that they carry with them to really inspire the design, inspire like the artistic side of the design. And it's been something that I try to replicate in every brand that I do. So I want to make sure that I hear the client that he's able to share his own stories and struggles. So I have something sort of emotional and something that allows me to connect with the client to be able to do a visual translation that really speaks to his expectations and what he really loves. So yeah, in shortened, that was it. Yeah. So Jose, if anybody else has any other questions, I'd be happy to answer. If you guys want to see additional work.
Kevin has one. Kevin, do you want to go ahead and shoot off? And everyone should have some questions. I'm interested in about the process or about the work.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, my question, I don't remember exactly which company it was for, but the question is just this: how did you handle the idea of change with them? And I wrote that down. I believe you were talking about the school. They were unsure of this change. They were very hesitant about making the change. Am I correct? It was the school, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious how you handled that. Did you handle that just through the process of core, or did you have to kind of break outside of that framework and nurture them through this idea of change? What did that look like for you?
Okay. So it was a difficult sell, but what really what really detonated the change was that they changed into a new building. So they changed into this building here. They were in a smaller place, and I've watched them, but basically grow from a closet to this huge building, and it's been really kind of gratifying to see that. Also because my son attended the school, but once they reached that level, right, like that place, I think the owner was a lot more open to the idea of like, okay, maybe we need to rebrand and kind of rename the school from just Navi to Navi Global School. So I think she was open to the idea of like, okay, maybe we just polish our existing logo. But when I came in and I initiated that change, I was really, really transparent in the very beginning. It's like her name is Patty, so I told Patty, it's like listen, this is gonna be a big change. Um, we're not gonna go and just sort of polish the logo. Like this is gonna be a brand new direction to fit the new objectives, ambition of the school. So, I think one of the things that I did was like to really start to soften the blow in the beginning, to kind of set those expectations. So when we got to the part of like, okay, now we're gonna start concepting um, through through core and then being able to see all the mood boards. I was setting expectations from the very beginning and throughout, and watching. I really tried to be in during the meetings of strategy. I want to make sure that I'm always looking at their face and I'm always looking into their eyes, so I can sort of tell, right, if they're liking what they're hearing, or if they don't like it, then and I can make quick sort of shifts into like the narrative or the strategy and be like, okay, well, maybe what about this? And what about maybe this specific keyword? Does this bring in everything up? Um, so for me, like it's not just with this specific client and with Patty, it's like I do it with every single client. It's like I really try to make sure that I understand where they're coming from emotionally and sort of ease my way into where the strategies tell me that I need to go and the brand, how it needs to so be translated.
Yeah. No, thank
Hopefully-
you. This
hopefully
is
that-
yeah, no, that's great. I appreciate it. This is beautiful. I love this work.
Thank you.
So yeah, excellent job and congrats on that.
Felice, you have a question?
I do, yes, thanks. So first of all, amazing work. I'm blown away, and I really love the work that you did for the um, what's the name of the cafe? It's a very good name.
Rufián.
Rufián, and you really honored it with the brand identity. I loved it. But I have a couple of more than questions. I have a couple of observations about the Navi project. It's something that comes up often. Some stuff that I think about often in the identity design work that I do for my clients, and that is so a couple of things I noticed is how you were working with a name that wasn't inherently meaningful. It was Ivan, but the other way around. So it wasn't inherently meaningful, but you imbued it with meaning by turning it into an acronym and then adding the organic letter forms, right?
Yeah.
This is very interesting because sometimes as designers, and I do this mistake myself, we're so obsessed with starting with meaning, and then we end up sometimes with a form that is kind of underwhelming. Um, but now that I was looking and thinking through this, looking at your work, I was thinking actually the way we have always been doing it since the dawn of time is we observe something and we give meaning to it. So the form comes before the meaning that we assign to it. I don't know, for a primitive man, from a caveman, the brief was, oh, what's going to happen after death, right? And that was the brief. In our case, we had, the client brief that you developed through the core process, right?
Yeah.
I hope this makes sense. That was the first thing I observed. And then the second thing, about this kind of magic things that happen with clients. When you work with clients that are aligned with you, I noticed that sometimes magic happens. In your case, always with the Navi project, you design some organic letter forms and it comes out. They look exactly like the kind of letter forms that the son of your clients were drawing. And then, this emotional reaction to the work happens.
Yeah.
And it made me think it's something that just very recently happened with a client of mine. Where I've been working on a brand identity design project, and I came out with an icon for their logo that was a snake chasing his own tail in the shape of a lowercase e. And when I presented it to them, like this was kind of impossible to surface during wasn't impossible, but unlikely to surface during even the long strategic conversation that we had because I also apply core to my clients. But then they said, as soon as they saw that logo among the options, they said, this is the logo because we haven't mentioned it, but me and my wife. They both are, they both run the business together. Said we are big into Northern mythology, and so this is Jormungandr, and it's just perfectly fits our, the concept and our kind of philosophy. So, yeah, this is the two observation that I had. I wonder if it's something that, yeah, you think about while you work, and if you have other examples of this kind of thing happening to you.
Yeah, actually I do. So I also worked with another coffee shop. It's called Shkanda, and there's the family is from there's Zapoteca. So that culture is hugely rich in history, in stories, in language. They come from Oaxaca in Mexico, and it's really interesting because that process. Um, I, it was similar to Navi, where I knew a little bit about them already. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a preface. So for me, I usually don't go out hunting for projects or go out hunting for clients. Um, Honestly, most of my clients here in Ensenada have been very organic. I become friends with them first. I never push my services. I've never pushed my work. I've never pushed my portfolio on anybody. And it's always been really natural how it's kind of worked out and how they become clients of how they referred me. And Shkanda happened very similar. So we became good friends. I started going to the coffee shop all the time. I met their family. But eventually they needed a rebrand. So they wanted to do a whole refresh. He reached out to me and was like, hey, what about you? I was like, I'd be honored. And what I did with them specifically, because I know Oaxaca has a lot of culture, it has a lot of different, a lot of stories. Um, so I started diving really, really deep into different bedtime stories, just stories, history, everything from the language and the Zapoteca culture. And I found some stories that felt like they were really close to the overall concept of what they were trying to do with the coffee shop. And what I did was create that logo around the stories that sort of came up or that were really influential in that culture. So I'm gonna pull up the brand guidelines. Give me 1 second. And all of this was done with a lot of respect and a lot of care. So I was speaking very, very intimately with my client's dad. He shared some documents with me, like notes and history. He gave me a lot of really fantastic references of like where to look. And here. Okay, can you guys see the brand?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is the logo that I created. And this is based on one of the stories of Cosijuesa in Oaxaca. This is my client, this is her mom. Uh, the entire brand was based on his vision for the coffee shop. And then I kind of married all these stories into the logo, into the entire brand, and really kind of took a lot of care. Every step that I took from a design perspective was signed off by their family. So I was very careful not to do anything that didn't represent the culture of the Zapoteca culture or Oaxacan culture. So, from everything from the symbolism, from all the representations, or in the face, and everything around the logo, everything was sort of signed off, and I was trying to be really, uh, I was I was doing everything with a lot of care. Uh, this talks about the logo specifically, how this is a homage to Cosifuesa and the Zapoteca culture. And you can see, a lot of uh, the care that kind of went into it. like the final design and the final brand, even everything that's done currently is really, really beautiful. I took a lot of symbology also from the tapestries. As a matter of fact, I have one that his father gifted me. So after we finished the project, he gave me that. So I have that always hanging. But yeah, like again, this was, identifying the type of illustrations that sometimes you see in that culture, the animals. Yeah. Marcy, go ahead.
Wow. Let me start with that. It's like, oh my God, this brand has so much care. Not that the ones that we were seeing before, but I've seen them. I've seen them in the past, Mauro, when we were chatting before.
Yeah.
So I was not as shocked to see them again because your work is fantastic. But this one has a particular level of detail and research that actually led me to my evil dorky question. Um, how did you manage to time box this depth of process into like the sequence of core? Because from from what I would gather of what I would have expected myself with something like this is I don't know how to make it end. It's like it feels like there's so many rabbit holes that you can keep on going down and finding details to make this brand so rich. And by connecting that to your client in using core, I feel like that could be unlimited. So how was it to control this creative process for you?
I think it's always been for me. It's giving the client as much control as I have, um, and that I'm speaking after the fact. So when I'm designing, when I'm going through strategy, I'm driving the car, right? I'm giving them the direction. I'm sort of feeling where the conversations are going and sort of nudging them maybe in the right direction. And that's something that I do with every single client. I think um, where I stop is where the client is where me and the client have that alignment of like I just need this, right? It's like I'm just looking for the logo, or I'm just looking for this, or I need social media as well. Um, but it's really like being able to stop at a point where the client is going to be comfortable, the client is going to be able to understand the brand, and then he's going to be able to take it on and really care for it past the fact of after I'm done with it. Um, and I think it's different with every client, right? I think Shkanda, I really focused on the logo. I focused on nailing down the stories and nailing down the visual aesthetic, and just sort of the overall feel for the coffee shop. And he's been able to take it and really do his own thing. He sometimes goes and gets different artists to do illustrations and different artwork, and it fits the brand, right? So I want to make sure that whenever I design things, they're gonna be flexible enough that it's not gonna be so restrictive that they only have to stick to one specific direction. I want to make sure that you know any designer can take this, or any photographer, videographer, artist, and really play with it. So I think it's just like being able to stop uh, to the point where it's like, okay, if I keep going, I'm not gonna leave room for anybody to be expressive with this brand, and to really kind of respect it. So I think is once you go into the realm of being overly restrictive with your brand, is where it starts to break. Um, and likewise on the polar opposite, right? If you don't give them enough tools, they're gonna do anything they want with it. So it's really finding that happy medium, and that it happens through really understanding your client. Yes. Anybody else?
I'm gonna take a second before Linda,
Sure.
just to tell you, Mauro, it's like as you were scrolling through the social media here, gosh, how the brand shows up uh, is beautiful. It's like, I want to learn how to love. Quiero aprender, creo que esa marca estaba ahí. Oh my gosh. It's
Thank
like, it does feel like it's so, it's a, you know, when it's a generic phrase that you can hear it anywhere, but it feels on brand. I think that's the proof that you nailed it, man. Amazing work.
you. Thank you.
Linda, all yours.
Okay, thank you. And I'm trying to change, to shift what we're talking about more toward core. And your designs are beautiful, and you can see how much you've put into them. But the designs that you've presented are abstract and they're innovative. Is there a particular point in the core process, the core framework, where you see the client make the transition from being skeptical, questioning, to excitement and energetic about what you present? Is it during the sharing of your research? Is it during the presentation of the mood boards? Where is it that you actually see them, because that's the excitement for me, come on board with your ideas?
Yeah, I think that really happens at the end of the attributes exercise. Okay, is my sound coming through? Sorry, my computer seems to be slowing down.
Perfectly.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's actually at the end of the attributes exercise. There's something really interesting that happens once you go through each one of those pillars, right? Of going through culture, client's voice, feeling, impact, and an X factor. And I think that is because most clients never thought about that. They've had some kind of vague idea of like, oh, this is sort of our clients. Oh, this is sort of the type of people that we want to. Maybe this is the feeling that we're looking for. I think once you go through the attributes exercise, they really kind of open up their eyes and are like, oh my God, wow, I never thought about culture, or I never thought about, what the voice is supposed to look like or feel like. One of the, actually most home runs happen actually when I take the attributes and then place them into the uh, the client experience. So when I'm able to take those attributes and say, okay, now let's give them some context and put them in action. And this is the exercise that I do usually with them. And this is the part of discovery, investigation, and participation of each client. So whenever somebody is looking for a coffee shop or just looking for whatever service, it's always going to happen through the voice. However it is, whether it's visual or through audio, in social media or in videos, it's always going to happen through the voice. So I want to make sure that I take those attributes, place them correctly into this sort of triangles, and like focus on what's the main attributes, and then the three attributes that support that main attribute, and then move on to the rest of the this journey. Clients really love this part, and they really start to get why we did the attributes, and they start to really see the value in the attributes. I think what happens is when I've done only the attributes in the past, they're like, okay, this is nice, this is kind of cool, but how is this gonna help me? How does this affect my brand? And it's this exercise that really kind of puts them into context. And it's really interesting. Something happens that when I do this exercise several times for several type of clients, it still works, and it's always super, super accurate. And they see that, and that's where I think that's where it gets really exciting to like, oh my God, okay, now I can't wait for the logo. But yeah, I think, and again, it's different for every client. Some clients get really excited when they see the mood boards. Some when they just finally see the logo. It's always different. But I think in terms of the number of times that I've seen clients be like, "Oh my God, okay, now I get it." Is when we do this exercise in particular.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Is there an email or an Instagram where people can ask you questions if they want to ask more? I know you have to go.
Yes, actually, sure.
Can you show us your Instagram and talk to us a little bit about what are you doing with Cult MX and your concept of starting a collective in Ensenada with your community of creators?
Oof, okay. Give me 1 second. Let me
The
pull
short
that.
version of that, by the way, after you pull up your
Yeah.
that was a very good question, Linda.
Yeah.
For a next presentation, which it will be probably in a few weeks. Either Marce or Felice or someone can present at some point. I used that same exercise to get a client that's a bit. It's not that they're conservative; they're also creatives, and they're 25 years into the practice, and have their field tends to be very graphically conservative, and we wanted to push. I always want to push. So there's a certain degree of you have to set up the sale so that they're the ones convincing you. So when you do that exercise of like, basically the brand attributes and actions, the feelings, how you sound that makes someone feel a certain way to land them somewhere and what that means. And when you combine that into a narrative and you present it to them, and then you say, now we want to make sure that everything graphically supports that. Basically, that exercise is a way of coming up with the positioning, and it's not a market positioning; it's a brand positioning that then they are like, yeah, that totally supports that. And if the designer can actually match that graphically, and that's one of the reasons why I use different designers to sell different kind of like approaches, because in MAURO it's the same thing, except he does it himself. You need to the IKEA effect. They need to feel like not only they came up with the attributes, therefore this sequence and this brand positioning is theirs, and the second is they chose what they liked, therefore holy shit, what came out wasn't MAURO pushing it on them. And then finally the Fido. MAURO is dorky obnoxious, which is very technical and words oriented. So he can really sell them technically on the things by explaining it to them in the narrative and the story. He's a Gemini, he's a storyteller, and we're in Mexico, this is in Spanish. The people are like, okay, pour the tequila, wherever you go. So there isn't a it's not a force function. It's actually a enrollment into the idea themselves. Anyway, I'm over explaining that exercise, but
yeah, it's right. So really quickly, this is my Instagram, studio cult.mx. This is where you guys can send me messages. You can follow us. We just did a rebrand of Code Studio, so I actually removed all the work, and we're gonna be re-uploading everything. But yeah, feel free to follow us here. What we're doing with Code right now, unfortunately, we put Code to sleep for a couple of years because of just difficulties a couple of years ago. But right now we are kind of relaunching. It's going to be very focused on sort of me and my wife being able to do this integral 360 brands. And it's right now we don't have a specific direction that I can say this is where we're going. I think it's always been we just want to do cool work. We just want to be able to affect culture, I think, the right way, and be able to do stuff that's good for our communities, for society, continue to do stuff that helps everybody, and do nothing that really creates
Harms.
any sort of damages.
One last thing to throw in just here, again, before we lose you. Can you talk a little bit about the role that consistently posting on TikTok that V has done? And she's kind of been, that Scorpio power of consistency, right? Like bam, 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 bam. I watch her stuff, by the way, because I'm very interested in it. What role has that played in the business lead gen and in how are you guys doing in your pipeline right now?
Okay. Okay, so Vale is my wife. She has always loved social media. She's done videos in the past, and every time that she does them, they either go viral or she has a ton of views or a lot of engagement, and she's really fantastic at it. One of the things that she's always wanted to do was to be able to take her work and be able to showcase that and speak about her work and be able to help the community with her own experiences and knowledge. And she's been, over the past couple of years, she's been really working hard on it. And it has worked amazingly. Like she has a lot of followers. She's been blowing up in a lot of different videos. And what we're doing with that is that we are sort of taking that engagement from her content and being able to kind of redirect it back into cult, a sort of a funnel, where she has her own brand, but once this goes into the territory of like actually working on big projects or big clients, it gets funneled into cult, and then we both kind of work on it, whether that is only branding or only interior design, or they need both, very much like Rufián. Rufen actually came in that same sort of funnel, where it came through her because they loved one of the projects or one of the videos that she did. And then it just sort of went into strategy and then branding, and it was like, okay, now let's do the interior design. And it was a complete 360 project, and it was really fantastic. And we're trying to be able to do more projects of that kind, where we can really focus on doing this experiential sort of brands, especially here in Mexico.
Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Beautiful work. Thank you for sharing the time here in our first Core Circle Live. Appreciate it.
I have a little reel here that it's a work in progress, but I'm happy to share it with you guys. It's not complete, but it'll get there.
Hit play.
Are you guys able to see it?
I don't see it moving, but I see the player.
I think you have to hit play. Maybe hit play. Rewind.
I think it's not working. How about now?
Yeah, it's working now.
Okay, here we go. Just a quick little preview of the reel that we're working for our brand. So once we finish this, I think this is where we're gonna really start to launch every project that we worked on, and be able to speak a little bit more in depth into each one. But yeah, this is my little gift for you guys to see where we're going. And it still doesn't have music, so sorry. All right. Oh, with this, I am complete.
Thank you, brother. We can jump right into the upload. You don't have to stick around unless you want to go first. I'm going to share my screen here. That was, ladies and gentlemen, Mauro Medina SUSARREY, sharing his work with us. You upload your name, your Fido. Do you want to go first, Mauro, before you jump out?
Okay. And my upload. Oh, my name is Mauro Medina. I am a obnoxious dork. And based on today, what message would you like to share to past self? Oh, um, everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, I think I've gone through enough anxiety, stress, and everything in between. I think I think we've all gone through all these tough times. I think it's really important to always kind of remind ourselves, whether we're going through that right now or if we did in the past, that things are gonna be okay. And just keep moving forward. As long as you keep moving, things are keep moving and keep showing up. Things are always gonna get better, and things are always gonna be good in the future. And I'm complete. Let's go with Marseille.
Okay, thank you, Mauro. My name is Marcelo Alejandro Russo. My Fido, I am an evil dorky. And am I evil? Yes, I think it was evil dorky. Now I'm getting mixed up. What message would I share with my past self? I've been thinking about it actually from the beginning. And the be yourself sounds like a very common thread, but I'm gonna dig deeper and say it's like accept that you are the container. You don't need to be this active piece of the puzzle. You can be part of the puzzle without needing to be active all the time. So I think that's all I would need to hear so I can let myself be me. So I'm complete. I'm gonna pass it to Linda this time.
Thank you. Based on today, I think that I would share with myself that I'm stronger than I know, and that the ideas that I've come up with are ideas that are worth developing. Yeah, that's basically it. So with that, am complete, and I am going to choose Felice.
Thank you, Linda. Mauro stole my upload, or he was reading my mind because I was thinking exactly the same thing when he said everything's going to be okay. Because I'm leaving this call with this sense of excitement, like, yeah, I'm galvanized by all the colors and the beautiful design work that we've seen. But I guess the point is that we were able today to sit here and talk about excellence in our craft and making a difference for our co-creators and the cultures that we navigate each day. And if that is not abundance, then I wouldn't know how to define it. So yeah, I have the same message for my past self that Mara has for his past self, and everything is going to be all right. And with that, I'm complete. And Kevin.
Oh man, you guys already said all the good stuff. My name is Kevin Mooney. My Fido is obnoxiously evil. And I might say to my past self, get over your fucking self and get out there and do it. And I think that's been my big problem, that I haven't put myself out there and I haven't done it. And the story that you just shared, Mauro, about the social media stuff and having that get traction. I mean, obviously the work that you and your wife do, it's beautiful and it's fantastic. But it's encouraging to hear that you put it out there and that actually got you some leads, and it got you, I don't know, maybe just to a place where you felt like it is going to be okay. And maybe that was the step that you took to get there. And maybe that's what I needed to tell myself today, is is get over yourself and get out there, because the ego was big, and I told myself that I didn't need to do that, and I didn't need to network, and I didn't need to co-create, and all of that is bullshit. And it's really what I do need. And so calls like this really help me. So with that, I am complete. Jose.
Am I the only one left? Yes, I am. Marce, you went already or no? Okay, and Linda, you
Yep.
went. Kevin, you went. Everyone went. I am. I'll say it this way. Jose Aran Caballer, my feet is obnoxious, flaky. I would tell my past self, everything that you do today ripples into the future. Every decision, every person that you are kind to, every person that you co-create with, every person that you learn from, every master that you battle with, every breakdown, every challenge, even at the hardest and most difficult times. To echo Mauro, everything is going to be okay. And really to have, it's not like telling, hey, dude, it's more like with gratitude and joy and love of every day. Because this is more than, because what you're going through, what you're doing, who you are is more than a logo. It's more than the latest website project. It's more than, you know, anxiety and panic, which I not unlike Mauro, suffer. Not unlike Mauro, have a partner who is very kind and helps with that. But on the theme of everything is going to be okay, everything is going to be great, and you're going to do great things, to quote my grandmother, as she used to do before we went to sleep. In that moment between sleep and wake, she would whisper things like for 30 minutes, 20 minutes. And when I get together with my brothers, we all kind of remember what she said, but like we remember the programming. So the ability to repeat over and over again and repeat that over and over again, you know, you're going to do great things. You're doing great things, and you have a great contribution to make to the world, is my message to my past self. So thank you everybody for being here, for being encircled, from the drop-in to the upload, with the journey in between. And next week, which is our I'm complete on my upload, and I'll bring my screen back up before we go into the chincheo. The chincheo portion of the program is not in the agenda, but that's okay. And that's basically, you know, where the people at the end of church kind of like just chat. Next week, we're going to do it again. There is no guest picked yet, but just a reminder that not only are we the system, we are the collective. And together we can do anything, to quote my friend, Yoni Chung, who we have a lot of love and credit for how this has evolved over these years. And that's it. I'm super complete. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Now we can just listen to music and say hello. Thank you, Marce, for opening. Thank you, everyone who showed up for the questions. What would you like to see next week? Like, what other features, themes? Like, let's brainstorm a little bit. Who would we like as a speaker? I had some tacos, by the way, while I got hungry looking at all of my autos work, so I went and got a taco.
So I know Fede had to drop out, but I would love to hear from Federico Roveda. Like,
Yeah, next week. Would you like us to him to be the speaker next week? Let's do that.
yeah, let's put him on.
So let's ask him in the chat. Is everybody like let's actually do like an actual circle. Any second that motion to have Federico present next week?
I would second that motion. That he is the person that came to mind when you asked the question, especially when you mentioned food.
Right. Let's make that the theme next week.
Now you know, Fede.
Yeah.
You're on notice, and I'm to blame. And just in case so you don't think that you're getting off the hook, Felice, is like your stage is gonna be your turn like really soon, because we've been cooking some really fun things with Felice that I'm eager to showcase.
Stupid jokes too, so it's gonna be very entertaining.
Yeah, that project actually almost like half of Core Circle worked on it. So
Yeah, I don't
This
know.
is
I'm happy
exciting.
to be here. I'm just happy to be here and listen to everyone talk and see the work that's being done. I think it's really cool. It's really fantastic. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here, and I will go with the flow on this.
Have Mauro on your podcast next.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about a lot of people during this conversation. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have somebody on from this group, or everybody on, to be honest. It's taken the podcast itself has kind of taken a couple of different forms, and I thought I wanted to go right into this sort of bad monetization mindset. Like, how do I set this thing up so that I can eventually monetize it? It just doesn't fit with me and my style. So I would much rather stay in the space of entrepreneurship and allowing people to come on and share their stories and share their challenges and bring some unique insight to the show. It's just a way for me to learn. It's a way for people to share. And if you're interested in doing that, any of you are welcome on the show anytime.
Kevin, can you share the link to your podcast?
Yeah, I can. I think. I don't know. How do I do that?
Yeah,
the chat.
Oh yeah, I could put it in the
You can
chat.
also share. You can also share your screen.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. Let's pull it up.
Amazing. Thank you, dude.
Share. Copy. All right. Look at me. I'm doing it, guys. It's technology thing. Oh, somebody already. Felice, look at you. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
It's also there in Spotify, and you can find it on YouTube as well. Let me see. Here it is.
The full Mooney.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't using words. I was just like trying to figure out technology, but essentially it's the Full Mooney podcast. And I've just been bringing on some folks here from the community and people that I know in my personal life. They are either creators, entrepreneurs, or friends who've been in kind of the marketing zone for most of their life. And I just talk to them about their stories and basically give people a platform to speak. And so far, it's been a lot of fun. It's been terrifying, and this is part of that feeling naked idea out there in the world. Also, I use a picture of me naked in a bathtub as my cover. Hopefully it's something that stops the scroll, but also it's indicative of who I am and how I like to show up in the world, on air, off the digital space. So yeah, please check it out. That'd be fantastic. I think the journey it's been a very interesting one, just in figuring out how to get a podcast live, and then how to bring on guests and how to facilitate guests and how to pull out those little nuances, just like we do in brand strategy and brand identity, right? We're always looking for that little nugget, that little gold nugget, that little nuance that we can lean into and tell a story about. And that's one of the pain points that I've had on the show so far, is being in the mindset to mine for those pieces of gold during the show, while being present and listening and trying to stay engaged in the conversation itself. It's a challenge. And so if I can bring any of you on who are willing to just be open and share, then it makes my job a lot easier. But I think one of the things, I don't want to keep droning on, but one of the things I think that I can do really well in that show is be vulnerable and transparent myself, which allows the guest to also be vulnerable. And Jose's been on the show a few times, and he's been able to open up. And I think that's what makes the best content, is when we're able to do that. But not everyone's willing to do that. Not everybody wants to pull their pants down in public and show the world what they're working with. But that's what I'm looking for on the show. So if you want to do that, please join. And bye, Linda.
Amazing.
You're out of here. Yeah, thank you.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you for doing that. I'll take us home with this, and because we broke our time limit, which is okay. You coming into the community, I'm going to generalize it, even though it's not in Gestalt. Every person that comes in, for example, you, that shares authentically and that picks up a shovel and starts doing something, whatever it might be, really motivates others. You know, for me, and this is my request and my call and my invitation to everyone who's here, whether it's yourself, whether it's your partner, your wife, your spouse, your husband, whoever it might be, that is doing something where they're sharing themselves online through the media, it is no longer obnoxious to do that. It is now table stakes. It's like we live in a time when that's what people do. And it's like people think that being on a camera or being on a show or being on a space station or being in whatever is an anomaly, right? It's like, oh, you're especially in the design, in any industry, but most industries, where people are like, oh, that's like uncouth to promote yourself like that. But it's really about the conversations. So I think ultimately, you know, and then what I'm trying to say here is say thank you, Kevin, because being on your podcast and just having the energy, having others take on the mantle of being themselves and unmuting themselves, it inspires me. So I have benefited greatly, and I'll make it like this, and I'll land it this intimately. For me, over the last 6 months, because it's been so much that I've taken on, and with client work and with continuing the community and with developing my core and coaching, like giving up has been like a daily thing. I'm like, I am done. I'm done. I need to focus on my own shit. I'm gonna go fucking make a ton of money and do this or do that. Well, I mean, I've made a ton of money, but now it's like, you know, what am I doing? And then Kevin Mooney comes in a bathtub with a cigar, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Somebody give that man a hand of applause. So participation should be actually our first. Participation and getting naked should be our first. Participate and get naked should be the first principle of our community, because ultimately, you know, we're a community of creative people that are different for sure. But you know, we're a special type of crazy. So I'm really grateful for you. So appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you. I hope I can be the platform for everyone to get naked on. I think the world needs a little bit more of that, less dictatorship and a little bit more humanity. So let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it. All right, everybody. Have a good afternoon. Thank you for being here. We'll get naked on Kevin Mooney's podcast soon.
See you guys.
Cool.
Thank you.